One word, respect. If USP Victorville, I go to USP Victorville, I'm there. There's a guy, he's got like triple life. He works in the
Wow.
kitchen. He works in the he
Wow.
works in the butcher shop in the kitchen. I mean, he has access to all the knives, all the blades, all the everything.
Right.
I can't walk in there and tell someone with triple life, "Hey, dude, what the fuck did I just tell you to do?"
Right. Exactly.
How's he gonna
Not
respond
going
to
to go
that?
well. Yeah, not going to go well.
He don't have nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fine line of, I won't even say it's a fine line. It's just a matter of respect. Like,
Yep.
it's just the same thing when you want your kids to do something. You could beat your kid, but they might be envious of you. They might be bitter. They might turn into the Melendez brothers,
Yeah. Oh, God. Right.
versus just saying, "Hey, this needs to be done." And some people need to know the reason why it needs to be done, not just because I said so, but because there's studies that show, empirical studies, and that show that if this isn't done properly and if it's not cooked to this temperature, people have died in the past. And a lot of these people who are doing a long time in jail, like they cultivate friendships and they have mentorship programs in prison amongst the inmates, not amongst the staff, but the inmates are like trying to, this dude's got triple life. Society might think that he's going to be in jail trying to punk people and bully people and do all of these other things, but that's not the truth. He's looking at these little young kids, trying to mentor them and guide them and say, "Hey, don't do what I did. You still
Right.
have a chance. I don't have a chance anymore." So
Right.
when you see inmates who are trying to help and mentor, those are the ones you latch on to.
Yep.
It's kind of like I'm assuming you had some friends when you worked where you worked at who
Yep.
didn't care.
Yep. 100%.
And those were the ones that I would move heaven and earth to stay away from. But then when you find the ones who actually care, who actually want to help people, who actually want to do the right thing, those are the ones you latch on to. And those are the ones that you promote. And those are the ones that be like, "All right, so guess what? You're not my cook no more. Now you're going to be you're going to be the advisor to food service, or you're going to be, there's special details that you can do for inmates to be like, because this guy has gone above and beyond and has done everything that we've asked him to do. He's now gone from just being a cook to being someone who helps train, someone who helps teaches, someone who helps,
Yeah.
does, literally will do anything." And and now you're eligible for different bonuses. You're eligible for different things that the average inmate doesn't get,
Right.
because you just showed a little initiative and you had some intrinsic motivation. That's the hardest
Yeah.
part. Is I'm a firm believer that every correctional officer should start at a high level institution, because that's where you learn to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you can't use all that bravado and trying to punk somebody. This dude, he don't care. He will
Yeah.
kill you. And what are they gonna do to him? He already
Yep.
got 3 life sentences.
So what you just heard was a small glimpse into the life of our next guest. Welcome to the first episode of Work Unscripted. I've been really excited about this series for a long time. There's a lot of really interesting guests that we have lined up, but I wanted to make sure that the first guest really knocked it out of the park, and I think we have. So, for today's episode, we have my new friend, Aaron Brooks. Aaron perfectly embodies the reason why Work Unscripted exists. It's to talk to people with unique, fascinating, extraordinary careers that you may have never heard of. And we want to really take everybody behind the scenes of what those can look like. Aaron's a 10-year vet serving with the Navy, and he's also put in 20 years working across a bunch of different Federal Bureau of Prisons. Over the course of his career, he's worked at several large institutions, including the MCC San Diego, the FCI Sheridan, the USP Victorville, the FCI Dublin, and the FCI Herlong. Going firsthand into these places is one thing, but really understanding how they work is another. Before entering the Bureau of Prisons, Aaron served as a culinary specialist in the Navy. Now, I don't even know what that means, and I didn't even know the Navy has any, but from what he tells me, he worked as a baker on submarines, where he was feeding entire crews around the clock because it was part of the mission. He later trained professionally as a chef, graduating from Johnson & Wales University and the St. Augustine School of Culinary Arts. Some fine-sounding establishments, if you ask me. And on top of that, he's an alumni of the University of Southern California. Across military and federal services, Aaron's work has combined the discipline of the Navy and the responsibility of running large-scale food operations in correctional facilities, feeding hundreds of people. And the thing that inspires me most about the conversation is his ability to connect with the inmates, to really inspire them to do better so they can actually have a second or third chapter of their lives after they leave prison. He's also the father of two, a daughter who's 24 and a son who's 21. Aaron's story is phenomenal. I couldn't have asked for a better first guest. A lot of what he told me blew me away in terms of the scope of his work, but also the humanity around his story. So, without further ado, here's the first episode of Work Unscripted and my conversation with Aaron Brooks. Let's get it. All right. Welcome to the first episode of Work Unscripted. My name's Savan, and today I've got my friend Aaron Brooks. Aaron, what's up? How you doing, brother?
Doing wonderful yourself.
Man, I'm doing amazing, bro. So, this is the first episode, and no pressure whatsoever of being great, right? But I want to kick it off by telling some crazy stories, especially of the stuff you're doing now. But before we get to the craziness, man, tell the people who you are. Where were you born? Where'd you grow up?
Born in Los Angeles, Martin Luther King Hospital, and raised between North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, Blacksburg, North Carolina, and LA. 10-year Navy vet. Did 10 years in the military, 6 on submarines, 4 in law enforcement, working patrol. After that, I transitioned from the Navy to the Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Prisons. And I'm coming up on my 20-year mark. September 22nd is my retirement date. So I'll have 30 years of combined government service and hopefully a nice little pension to sail off to the sunset with.
Yeah, dude, that sounds amazing, bro. What part of LA were you born? I know when people said they're from LA, man, I lived in SoCal for a while, and people claim Irvine as LA, which we know Orange County is
Irvine,
not LA.
Orange County, that part. So I was actually born in Compton. So Martin Luther King Hospital is actually in Wilmington, California. So Wilmington is literally between Watts. You have Watts, Wilmington, and then Compton. So it's like smack dab in the middle. But I was raised in South Central LA, like 92nd and Hickory, and then over by Edison Junior High School. Like that was the closest school to us.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. So how did you make it out to the East Coast? Like how long did you live in LA before you moved out?
So it was just a back and forth thing. Like it wasn't like anytime I was out of school, I was in North Carolina because that's where my grandparents were. That's where all my one sister and 3 of my other brothers lived out there. So it was more of a summertime, wintertime out of school type deal. And then obviously not growing up, but after I got married and had kids, I went to Georgia. So then that put me 4 hours from the house. So then, my grandmother was still alive back then. So it was just back and forth.
Dang, that's crazy. What's the biggest difference between North Carolina and LA in your head? Like if you had to pinpoint some of the top 5 biggest differences, what would they be?
Honestly, I can tell you one thing that's the difference between LA and I won't even say the North Carolina. I would just say the South.
Okay.
Manners,
Ooh.
people
Ooh.
being
Okay.
polite, and you can take
Yep.
that and go 30 different ways with it. The thing about the West Coast is, like when I go home and I call, and the interesting part is I call North Carolina home because I feel more home in North Carolina than I do in LA. When I go
Wow.
home, everybody is polite. If we were walking down the street, people would actually speak to you. Like, it's not like LA. Like, if I'm walking somewhere in LA and I speak to somebody, they're looking at me like, why is this guy talking to me? What does he
Yeah.
want?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's an ulterior motive, or, like you're trying to get something or do something to him.
Yep.
And I think like, it's like that whole bravado, like it resonates on the West Coast because people start to take that on as like who they are. That's not who you are. It costs you nothing to return a wave, a nod, a hi, a hello. Down south, that's a normal thing. And if you don't do it, they'll look at you like you're crazy. You get to the
Yeah,
West
man.
Coast,
It's nuts, dude. I spent some time in Augusta for work. I probably spent about half a year there. And working in the DoD, you pick up a lot of the sirs and ma'ams, right?
correct.
Like even at work, and on the West Coast, I just remember telling this lady, thank you, ma'am, or something, and she got like really offended because she thought I was calling her old, and I was just like, man, this is sort of weird. It's very
So
different,
so the
man.
interesting thing now is like with the whole LGBTQ movement, and not to like get off topic, but when you said that yes ma'am and yes sir, so that's the way my kids
Mm-hmm.
were raised. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the way I was raised. So when I see somebody and I look at them and they look, I think the proper word is presenting as male or
Mm.
female or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and I say yes ma'am, those are my Southern roots and what my parents taught me specifically growing up in that church. If it's a man or somebody, it's yes or no, ma'am or sir.
Yep. Yep.
And people nowadays, like, when I was living in Portland, I worked for the Timbers, and there's
Mm-hmm.
a young lady who works for the Timbers. She's not young, she's much older than me, but she is transitioning, but
Mm.
she presents as female. So I said, she asked me to do something. I was like, not a problem, ma'am. Have a good day. And I left, went to go do whatever I was doing. And at the end of the
Yep.
shift, like my boss comes to me and was like, hey, so and so said that you called her ma'am and wants to file a
Mm.
complaint against you.
Dang.
And luckily, my boss is from Texas, is from Houston, so he
Yeah.
understood that I was saying. And he was like, we got to try to get more into just say yes or no. You don't have to say ma'am or sir, because then you don't have to worry about anyone being offended.
Yeah.
For me, it
When in
wasn't about being
actuality, you're
offended.
just showing you're showing them respect, right? Like
Correct.
like by having that designation, it's a sign of respect for the other person. And yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy like having to do I had talked to another guest about code switching, and she was talking about, her being with her African roots and trying to code switch in like certain settings, and but for you, man, you had to do that all the time, right? Like every year going back and forth. Was that a
But it
struggle
was
like
just a,
growing
a
up or what?
normal thing.
Mm,
It was born and raised, like being born and raised in that. Because I'm telling you, like if I was at my grandmother's house, and bless her soul, Lula Brooks would just smack you in the face. If you were somewhere and we spent a lot of time around
yes.
older folks, it
Yep.
wasn't a thing of yeah wasn't even in the vocabulary. Like I didn't say yeah until I went in the military. Like yeah wasn't a thing. Like it's specifically around adults. Now, if you're
Right.
outside with your friends, your peers, kids, and y'all want to yeah and
Yep.
no all day, go for it. But the moment
Yep.
an adult came around, it was a wrap. I,
It's a wrap.
like literally, like what's the comedian Bernie Mac? He say when he smack you in the back of the
Yeah.
head, make your teeth
Yeah.
chatter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that
Uh-huh.
was real.
That was real for sure.
It
Holy
was.
smokes, man. How did you get into the Navy? Was that right after high school, or did you take some time in between there?
So I left right after high school. I didn't know what I wanted to
Okay.
do. Like I was
Yep.
just like, my brother was a colonel in the Air Force, and my other brother was a master. He's a gunnery sergeant in the Marine Corps. And then I got
Okay.
other brother who was in the Marine Corps, and then like my aunt worked for the Secret Service. So I knew that I was going the government route. I just
So
didn't
they
know
had
how.
done things too. It wasn't just like, they're grunts. Like these are high officials too, right?
Yeah,
Like your
like I'm
family.
I'm like the
Yeah.
bastard child at the her with no degree. Everybody else got a
Right.
degree. My mom's a PA, dad's a mechanic. My
Right.
sister's got her bachelor's in child psychology. Like my brother's is in mathematics. Like I'm the black sheep, so I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna go to the Navy because I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And my dad was like, don't go somewhere and waste your time or your money or someone else's time or money because you don't know
Yep.
what you want to do. So I
Yep.
wind up going into the Navy, and um I didn't know what I wanted to do. So my dad told me, go do something that you can do. The computers will never be able to take over.
Oh, your dad already thought
Yeah.
about this
Pops
many years
Pops got
ago.
good game.
Woof. Woof. I like that. All right. So what was your mentality then, like going into it?
I was a kid. I was a kid. Like literally, I was a kid going in, trying to be an adult, trying to put that brave face on, leaving home for the first time. Like, and when I say leaving home, I'm not talking about going to your auntie's house around the corner. I'm talking about
Right.
I on my dad's birthday, I left for boot camp, and I remember my family. We had like a dinner at the Sizzlers back when Sizzlers was still open, old school.
Yeah.
Back when Sizzlers was still
Oh.
open, and my family was there, and I was like, all right, like this is it. And I remember my grandmother, my mom's mom, she lived in Los Angeles. She came out, and he just told me, she was like, don't forget your religion. That's, she was like, don't forget your
Mm,
principles. Don't forget what you were founded on. Don't forget what we've instilled in you. And that was it. And I went to boot camp,
dang.
and I was off to the races.
Tell me the story of how you got your ass in submarines. Like how did you eventually get in there? Because you don't look like a small guy, and there's not
I'm
a lot
not.
of room in the submarines.
So it was a joke. I went to cook school first because my dad was like, go be a cook or go do
Okay.
something like a barber, a cook, a signalman, something that like computers can't take over. So I went to A school. I went to boot camp in Chicago, left Chicago, went to A school, which is like your basic school for culinary arts. Back then it was called mess management specialist. That was in San Diego. And it was great because my parents lived in Riverside, and San Diego's like an hour and a
Hmm.
half from Riverside. So it was wonderful. And the guy comes in, we're about to graduate, and he like took the top 10% of the class and was like, you guys can choose wherever you want to go to, but I have a special guy here who wants to talk to you. And I was like, all right. So me and another guy were in there, and dude was like, who wants to make a lot of money? It's like, raise your hand. Who likes adventure? Keep your hands up, right? Your hand never
Yeah.
comes down. And he's like,
Yeah.
all right, you two guys come with me. So we take this aptitude test. We both passed the test. And he was like, all right, sign right here. And this is something that a lot of people don't understand about the government, specifically when you're young. When somebody
Hmm.
tells you to sign something, you might want to read it before you sign it.
Yeah. Especially if it's a multi-year thing.
A multi-year, it's like I had old gunny sergeant when I worked with the Marines. He used to say it will behoove you to read and understand what's going on. So me and my buddy, we signed it, and then about 2 weeks later, I think we went before like an oral board, passed the oral board, and was like, all right, you guys are going to Groton, Connecticut. And I was like, Groton,
Ooh.
Connecticut? What the hell is
I
Groton,
don't
Connecticut?
even know where that is, bro. I don't even know where that is.
It's like 3 hours from New York City. You know where
Okay.
Rhode Island is?
I do.
Like
Yeah, my sister used to
Providence,
live
Rhode
in
Island?
Connecticut. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so it's like, I want to say it's like an hour and a half from Providence, south. get there, and it is a Navy enlisted submarine school, and I was just like, "Wait, this shit was supposed to be a joke, bro. Like we wasn't. I didn't really want to sign that." And I got there. It was the middle of wintertime in Connecticut. I was
Good
cold.
Lord.
My mom called my mom. She like FedExed me like a True North jacket, some Timberland boots. Like
Yeah.
still a
Socks.
kid, bro. Still a kid,
Yeah.
like 18 years old.
And you
Like
had been in hot ass weather your whole life.
I've been in the humidity of North Carolina and then just the heat of
Yep.
California. So
Yep.
like, yes, it was a culture shock and it was a weather shock to the body.
Damn. That's crazy. Before we dive a little bit deeper into the submarine stories, how did you get into cooking? Were you a good cook as a kid? Were you one of those kids that like spent
Yeah.
time in the kitchen?
I spent more time in the kitchen than I spent outside. And
Oh, really?
all my aunts can cook. And when
Okay.
I say could cook, I mean could like burn the kitchen up. Like they like my aunt Cherry, she's a master baker. My aunt Georgia used to make
Wow.
macaroni and cheese like nobody's business.
Right,
My
right.
dad just like barbecuing. Like I learned how to barbecue just watching my dad. Just trying to go out there and
Wow.
get. It literally was me trying to go outside and get like the little scrap piece of meat, like you feed the dog,
Yep.
and I was just like, "Wait, this is amazing!" Like, there's no fire in there, but it's cooking.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, once I started traveling around the world, it was just my first duty station was in Hawaii, and I
Okay.
got the chance to cook with Sam Choi. And then they sent
Oh,
me to
dang.
yeah, it was crazy. Like the Navy was really good to me. All like
Yeah.
I can honestly say 90% of my life experience was rooted in the bases of the Navy, specifically on
Wow.
submarine. Like it
That's
was
crazy, man.
yeah, it was a good time though. Like
Uh Oh yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like it. I mean, like the thing about cooking is right now it's blowing up, right? Like with the food channel and all these YouTube channels and everybody's trying to be a celebrity cooking. But back in the day, you probably had maybe one or two channels that had cooking on it. Were you
yeah, but
thinking,
that
"Hey,
was
I
like
want to
on
be a cook when
cable
I grew up"?
that you had to pay for. That wasn't like
Right.
regular like we had what's old baby's name, the French lady. She had the French accent. I can't even think of her name. Um Julia Childs.
Yo, Julia
So when
Childs.
I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
a
yeah,
little
yeah. I saw
kid,
that movie. Yeah.
me and my aunt would be sitting in her and my aunt got Home and Garden magazine. And in Home and Garden magazine, there's a section, like a foodie section. And
Yeah.
we would watch Julia Childs cook, and then we would go into the kitchen and cook. And everybody always thought that I was going to my aunt's house because I wanted to hang out with my Uncle Bobby, who he was well off. He had some
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
I was going over there because my aunt had a wolf friggin'
Stove.
oven in
Oh,
in her house. So we
yo.
would just cook all the time. So like
Yeah.
I love cooking. I won't sit here and lie to you. Like
Wow.
it's one of those things. It's been my bread and butter pretty much my entire
Yep.
life.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. So tell me, after you enlist, you are now traveling the world with the Navy. You're in the submarine. What is a typical day like for you while you were moving around with the Navy? While you were enlisted, like what does a typical day look like for you, or what did it look like?
So a regular day for me, I was a night baker. So my
Okay.
job entailed cooking. I would wake up around 5:30 p.m. right when
Yeah.
dinner was being served. The guy in there serving dinner would come in. We do a walkthrough, make sure the place was clean. And the first thing I would start was making, if I needed to make like hamburger buns, hot dog buns, cookies, cakes, all the things to sustain the crew for the entirety of the next day. So literally, let's just go and say we had a hamburger day. So I would need
Yep.
to make like 300 hamburger buns along with white bread for breakfast, white bread and
Yep.
wheat bread for breakfast. And
Yep.
then once I got started, plus desserts, so whatever the dessert was. So if it was a sheet cake, I would need to make like 2 or 3 sheet cakes, then make icing, ice the cakes, put them away. If it was cookies, typically I would make probably about 500 cookies because each person gets 2 chocolate chip cookies. But the truth of the matter is, who's only eating 2 chocolate chip cookies when they're good?
Yeah.
So
Right.
you make like
Right.
500 of them.
Yeah.
And then you would then I would do a meal that's called mid-rats. So on a submarine, it runs 24 hours a day. So there's no meal at midnight. Like
Mm,
there's no in regular society, there's no midnight meal. So
right.
for us, we would do a meal that's called mid-rats, and it was typically like leftovers from dinner and like some ravioli or some beanie weenies or whatever extra there was, some chicken nuggets, just something for the guys coming off watch to
To eat.
get something in their stomach so they can go to sleep, or the guys
Right.
who are going on watch to get something in their stomach so they can go to sleep.
Right. Right.
Then,
Right.
then the next day, obviously once all that's done, then breakfast would start, and breakfast started around 5 o'clock. So then I would cook breakfast, like eggs to order, like basically restaurant style breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, go take a shower, go to sleep,
Dang.
and try to get as much sleep as possible, and start over the next day.
That's crazy, man. What was Aaron, what was a memorable crazy day for you? Cuz I would imagine, man, if the food runs out or if you butcher a meal or something goes bad, everything's gone bad, right? Like that's sort of like the cornerstone of the submarine functioning is the fuel that
Correct.
people take in. What tell me a story about like a horrible disaster that happened to you that you can remember.
So when submarines are riding, and these some things take time to figure out. You don't know these things, and no one tells you. It's like
Right.
trial by fire initiation. Like you started a podcast. A lot of people didn't tell you a lot of stuff, like downfalls
Mhm.
that are going to beset you as a podcaster.
Right.
So what I didn't know was, and what no one had told me, is that when a submarine is moving forward and they're
Okay.
moving forward, the way that the submarine is tilted. So say this is your submarine. The submarine is
Okay.
going to be tilted a little bit to the left,
Okay. Okay.
because or tilts a little bit to the right, because the propeller is spinning,
Spinning. Yeah,
or
okay.
is spinning clockwise. So the boat's going to have a little lean to it.
Right.
So knowing that, when you're in port, when you put your cake in the oven, your cake's going to go in the oven. It's going to sit flat just like this. So
Uh-huh.
no matter how high you fill it in that pan, it's going to stay inside that pan. So when you're on the submarine and you're underway or you're out to sea,
Yeah.
your cake does one of these little numbers. So
That's crazy.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chocolate cakes in the oven, and we're going. And I put them in there. I'm like, all right, they look good. Slam the
Yep.
door, and
Yep.
about 5 minutes later, this thick black smoke starts coming out of the oven
Hey, in the submarine.
in the submarine.
Right.
And now we're like, what the hell is going on?
Right.
So I I open the ovens, and the ovens are convection ovens. So it's like they're electrical ovens, but there's a big ass fan that's just whipping air through them so they cook
Right.
even. So as soon as I
Right.
open that door, the fan blows all the fucking smoke out. Excuse my language.
Woo!
Blows all the smoke out, and then
Yeah.
somebody's like, "There's a fire in the kitchen."
My God.
So as soon as somebody says there's a fire on the submarine, there are like strict protocols that need to happen. Certain things
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
We come up to the prescribed depth because we were actually on a mission.
Oh man. Oh
It was-
man.
and you got 19-year-old dumbass Aaron standing there like,
What's going on?
And at this
Oh
point, like all my bosses there, like the supply officers there, my chiefs there, my first class is there, my seconds there. I think I was an E3 at the time. And it was just so now all the stuff that I made, all these cakes, they're trash.
yeah.
So now I gotta clean all of the cake out of the oven. It's been caked on and burnt. So now the entire forward compartment smells like burnt chocolate cake.
Oh my God.
And but I still got to remake these cakes. Now it's been like 2 hours since these cakes should have been made because I should have made them as soon as I got in there. But I want to say it was like pizza night or something. It was pizza night. So I had to make a whole bunch of pizza crusts for the crew before I started my actual job. And it was a horrific, it was very horrific. And
My
people,
God.
the one thing I can tell you about Submariners is we'll ride your ass until the sun goes up, comes back down. And if you show any inkling of weakness, just the slightest bit, it's like opening it's like when there's a windy day outside. Imagine the wind's blowing 100 mile an hour and
Mm-hmm.
you want to peep outside. So you open your door up just a little bit.
Yeah. Just
That's all it
blasted
takes.
by that breeze.
And once that door is open, you ain't getting it closed. So
Oh man.
that was another lesson I had to learn of having tough skin. I would say not caring. If they didn't care about you, no one would say anything to you.
Yeah, nobody would say anything.
It's that old adage is they talk to
Yeah.
you because they actually care.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Um, man, how did you fix the baking cake issue then? Did you just not fill it up as high or what? Like, how do you fix that?
So you don't fill it up as high, number one. And number two, you find something that won't burn. So then you have like these burnless heat resistant hot pads. So
Okay.
put the hot pad in on the right hand side of the oven.
Okay.
Be just like this. So if you take like this little cap and you sit it on there, now the right side's higher than the left side.
Oh, I
Simple as
got
that.
you. I got you.
And the cake only takes 30 minutes to bake. So in 30 minutes, it's not enough time for that hot pad to burn up.
Right. Man, this is like all the things they don't teach you in culinary school, probably, right? It's like all the shit you gotta learn on the fly.
You got to learn it on the fly.
Dang. Okay. So how do you teach the next generation of cooks that are cooking in a submarine? Like, do you guys have some sort of mentor intern program, or how do you like make sure the next series of cooks come in and know what the fuck they're doing?
Honestly, it's just on the job training and caring.
Okay.
It,
Okay.
it Once you show me by your actions, that they say respect is earned, not given. So once
Absolutely.
you show me by your actions that you actually care and you actually want to be here and you're actually going to pay attention, and I will pour into you. Like I was having a conversation yesterday with one of the guys in my job. I said, I will teach you everything that I can potentially teach you before I retire. Because once I
Hmm.
retire, I understand that the likelihood of me being in food service is pretty nil. Like my next step in life is to go to do private security. So,
Right.
it's the same thing on a submarine. You say, hey, I will teach you everything you want to learn as long as you are proactive and responsive to what I'm telling you or the information that I'm providing you.
So walk me through then how you ended up at your job now at the DOJ being a cook there. So you retired from the Navy
No,
after
so
10
I
years?
just got out. I was done.
Oh,
I was like, I'm done. So I went, um, my daughter was born November 14th, sorry, of
okay.
2001, right after nine
Okay.
11. And at the time I was working in law enforcement and they were like, hey, we got good news. We got some bad news. It's time for you to reenlist. If you reenlist,
Mm,
you're going to Iraq or Bahrain, or you're going back to Bahrain
yep.
because I had already been to Bahrain
Yep.
once. If you reenlist,
Right.
you're going back to Bahrain. And I'm sitting there like, bro, I got a freaking kid at the house.
Yeah.
And my ex-wife was like, we sat down and kudos to her for understanding the assignment. She said, what is $200,000 at the time, because when I went in, it was $200,000, the death burial benefit for the VA. What does $200,000 buy a newborn baby? She ain't got her
Not much.
dad. She ain't got no memory of you. She won't. It like you never even existed. You got me pregnant and you went and died. And so I got out and I worked at Loomis Fargo in San Diego. We moved from Connecticut to San Diego, and I worked at Loomis Fargo. And one of the guys at Loomis Fargo was like, "Hey Brooks, I know you were in the military, but the Bureau of Prisons is hiring." Like, I said, "All right, sweet. What do I need to do?" He goes, "Take your resume or take your DD 214 to him." I was like, "So I can just walk in with my DD 214? They'll give me a job?" He goes, "Yeah." So I walked in with my DD 214, handed it to the HR lady. I can't remember her name, but I can see her face. And she goes, "All right, come in here, take this test real quick." So they played a video, and it was like a scenario where you had to put things in chronological order,
Okay. Okay.
literally in a written report. So they showed you a video, and it's like, "All right, chronologically, tell us what happened in that video." So now you have to remember what happened, punctuation, grammar, spelling. Like it at the time, it was, a pretty comprehensive test because it made you think. They got to see if you could spell. They got to see if you could read. They got to see if you were able to um, retriculate what happened in that situation. And I was like, so I did it. And they were like, "All right, we'll hit you up next week." And the week following, they called me and said, "Hey, can you come in for a drug test?"
Mm-hmm.
So I've never been a fan of drugs, so that was easy. Went and took that.
Yep.
And then they
Yep.
asked me if I could come back the following week for oral board with Captain Wells, Lieutenant Buttrin, and the chief of
Oh, you
psychology,
remember all their
Dr.
names.
Banks.
Wow.
I remember them. Like, it was, I walked in there and they started asking me a bunch of questions that I had no earthly clue. And I just kept saying the same thing. I will
Yeah.
revert back to policy.
Yeah. That's
I,
smart. That's
I will
smart.
revert back to policy. And they were like, "All right, we'll call you." And something that like now takes upwards of a year. Like, I want to say
Mm-hmm.
I had it done in maybe the 3 months.
That's fast, man. That's
Yeah,
fast.
it was. But I think it was a different time too. It wasn't like now where everything's online. You got to wait, and it's got to go through Grand Prairie, Texas, and it's got to do, like back then. It was they could hire on the spot at the institution level.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. So you went, you applied. Did you know what to expect? Like, did you ask anybody, hey, like, what's up with this job?
No, so the only thing I knew, like working in prisons, is that like I got a couple of cousins who uh who reside at the Great Bar Motel, as my grandmother likes to affectionately
Okay.
call it.
Okay.
So I'd heard stories my entire life about uh prison. And there was some neighbors of my mom, or my parents, where they live in California now. There are some neighbors who are associated with a very popular Hispanic prison gang. And these were dudes that I hung out with all the time. Like, when I was a like high school kid, elementary, junior high, and high school, I was always at their house.
Right.
So it wasn't like a thing of me being nervous or me being scared, because it's like, bro, like I done hung out with these dudes. Like, I done hung out with my cousins. Like, these are high ranking people in their associated organizations.
Right.
So it wasn't
Right.
like a really big thing. Like, it wasn't. I will tell you, it was scary when you're locked in. Like, that's the only scary part. When somebody tells you
Mm-hmm.
you're going into this housing unit and we're going to lock the door behind you, it makes you use your people skills. It makes you, that's yes, sir, and no, no, sir. Yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. All those things kick in where you start, this guy's got life. He don't give a shit what happens to you.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
don't care whether or
absolutely.
not you go home,
Absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're big, sweet. He's bigger.
Yep. Or
And
crazier or
or crazier.
faster or whatever. Yeah,
All
for sure.
stronger. Because all they do is work out. And then you got, like one dude, great. I think my first unit that I was on, it was me and another guy. His name was Pierre. He's a lieutenant in LA now.
Hmm.
And we went on this unit, and I want to say it was the 8th floor, and it was 2 officers, and there was 189 inmates.
Wow.
So
Holy
what difference
shit.
does it make how big you are? What
Right.
difference does it make how fast you are? What difference does it
Right.
make how karate? That's sweet, bro. This ain't Bruce. This ain't Enter the Dragon.
Yeah,
They're
Sand
not
and the
standing
Dragon.
around in a
Yeah.
circle waiting for you
Right.
to, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Individually, when they move as a unit. And if they
Right.
want you, they're gonna
Right.
get you.
Dang. Tell me, break down a typical day for me at work for you. What does that look like?
So a typical day now would be me going into like inside the prison. Like I'll get there around 10 o'clock,
Okay, so
and
sort of late then, huh? Like I thought you started early.
10 a.m. 10 a.m.
Okay. Okay.
So the shifts are broken down into 8-hour shifts. So they have the
Okay.
4:30 to 12:30, and then you have a little overlap. So you have it 10 o'clock to 6 p.m.
Okay.
So you have I come in, and typically I try to make sure my stuff is prepped the day before or
Okay.
several days before, because I just don't like coming in and not being ready. So
Right.
I get there at 10 o'clock, get in, go to control, give them my chits. And the chits is this little circular thing. It just has your name on it. And it just says it says A. Brooks. And I give him 4 chits. He gives me some pepper spray, a set of keys to all the doors that I'm allowed to move in and out of, a radio with a body alarm. So basically a duress alarm. And then OC spray, cuffs, radio, keys. So there's 4 things. So those is
Okay.
typically the stuff that I get. And I come in, and after lunch, my guys come and we start cooking dinner. So trying to think, what was the last meal that I cooked? Our last meal we cooked was roast beef, mashed potatoes.
Dang. Wow. That's pretty freaking nice, man. How big's your team? Like, what does the team look like typically?
So typically, it depends on where you are. If you're inside the FCI, you have a team of about 30 people working for you. 30
Okay. What is
inmates.
that? What is FCI?
FCI is a federal correctional institution.
Okay.
So that's where I work. I work at FCI Herlong. So the Federal
Okay.
Correctional Institution at Herlong, California. My guys come in, and they just get the works. Friday when I came to work, we grabbed all the roast beef, we seasoned it up, and your job is to my title is a cook supervisor. So my job is to cook and supervise, and that's it. Teach these guys how to cook, so when they get out, they have a viable skill, so they don't reoffend. And that's the way I look at it. There are people out there who don't look at it that way. There are people that are just like, you're just a monkey. Any monkey can do this job. But for me, it's like, hey, if I'm putting my name on this meal, I'm going to put this meal out with pride and professionalism. And
Right.
people are like, oh, well, you're in jail. No, I'm at a restaurant, because to the inmates,
Mm-hmm.
it's the only place to eat.
Oh,
The
absolutely.
only restaurant in town, right?
Yep. Yep.
Like, where else? Like, do
How
you
do
have an
how do
option?
how do people like apply to get to be a part of your team? Like, what does that look like?
So I like to do the referral system, and I like the
Okay.
referral system because it's kind of. You ever seen that movie Harlem Nights?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So you
For
you
sure.
remember that scene when Bugsy Calhoun broke that dude's hand because the one guy got caught stealing?
Yep.
So I kind of operate like Bugsy Calhoun.
I
When
thought you were gonna talk about the when he shot off his pinky toe. Was that scene? Was that in Harlem Nights?
Oh yeah, that was Harlem Nights when he shot off Don Delari's pinky toe.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
for
yeah.
me, that was hilarious. So for me,
Yep.
I like to get people word of mouth.
Okay.
Like I like to be like, hey, my buddy, he doesn't have no family. He ain't got nobody to bring him to give him money. He's just looking for, And for me, typically those are the guys that work the hardest. Because if you don't have no money and you don't have nobody sending you anything and you don't have no family trying to help support you while you're inside jail, you're going to do everything in your powers to secure your spot
Exactly.
and keep your spot.
Yep.
And those are the guys typically that I find work the best. I don't want to do with all the money. Like when I was in Sheridan, Oregon, when I worked in Sheridan, Oregon, Demetrius Flannery, Big Meech, the dude from Power or BMF, he was there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want Demetrius Flannery working for me.
Yeah.
Demetrius
He
Flannery's
probably
a
can't make
millionaire.
mashed potatoes. Yeah.
Yeah, right? Like,
Yeah.
bro, like he don't give a damn. He don't
Right.
care what the food tastes like.
Right.
Because he don't have to eat it. He's got enough money to eat commissary. And, you know, I'm trying to think of the 3 years that I was there, maybe I seen him 6 times actually come to come to food service and eat. Because he had so much money that he could literally buy anything in commissary that he wanted. So he didn't need to come eat. So when you look at it from that perspective, I think Deion Sanders said we want that dog. You know, we want that. He got in a lot of trouble for saying that, right? He said he wanted that kid with no dad, whose mom lived in the projects, didn't have much, but was willing to work and to get it all. So not just in football, but in life, that resonates and
Yeah, for sure. So what? Take me through like that process. So you get a referral, somebody comes in. How do they get through the gauntlet of interviewing with you, or like how do you assess if they're going to be a good candidate to be a part of your team, to be part of this cooking staff?
So if somebody comes in and they don't have no experience, the very first thing you're getting a dish pit. You're going straight to the dish room.
Right.
It's the bottom of the barrel, and I'm just going to assess you. And the ones that I love are the ones who are over in the dish pit washing dishes, but when they're not washing dishes, they're over by the pans where the kettles are, where the cooks are, trying to see what's going on. Some of them are trying to get scraps, like the little dog that we talked about when I was a little kid. I was just trying to get scraps for my dad to eat.
Yep.
Because it was barbecue and it tasted amazing. But some of them are, and you can see it, like you see the light bulb comes on when, like, hey, Brooks, I put too much salt in this. How do I fix it? And it's like, okay, go grab some potatoes, order the potatoes up, throw the potatoes in there, and let it sit there for like an hour. And the potatoes will literally absorb all the salt.
Right.
And then you see the dude over in the dish room being like, man, I didn't know that. Is that real? Does that really work? Like, yeah, it'll work. Like, come back in an hour and I'll show you that it works.
Wow.
So those are the ones, like that guy who has that intrinsic motivation. He's not doing it because he wants to look good in front of people. He's not doing it because he wants the praise or the admiration. He's doing it because intrinsically, like, that self-esteem is driving him. And that's kind of me. Like, I'm not doing things for praise. I don't need to go out and seek out admiration and praise from people. I do it because my dad told me, if you did it right the first time, you wouldn't have to do it again. And when you listen to that and you hear that over and over and over and over again, at some point, like, the light bulb does come on. And it was like, man, had I done it right the first time, I wouldn't have to go back and do it again. So then you start taking pride in your work from an intrinsic level, because do I want my dad to be happy? Yes. But at the end of the day, I only want to do it one time, and I want it to be done correctly so I don't have to do it again.
Yeah.
And when I
Because it
do
gets more
that,
expensive too. Every time you make that mistake, it gets more and more expensive.
100%. It's kind of like my buddy Matt, a guy I lived next door to when I was little. He worked for CDCR, for California Department of Corrections, and he bought a BMW, and it was like a little 320, whatever, 308, whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember going over there one day, and he was in his garage tinkering, and I was like, bro, what are you doing? He goes, my spark plug, I need to change the spark plugs on my car. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. It's like, you mind if I just hang out and watch? He's like, yeah. So with that model BMW, the spark plugs and the gas line apparently were like very close together.
Right.
And a common mistake that people who wanted to change their own spark plugs made is that they would break or damage the gas line sure as shit,
Yep.
because of combustion, those gas lines are going directly into the head cylinder.
Oh,
The
dang.
spark from the spark plug sparks the gas inside which causes combustion, which causes a piston to shoot back down.
Oh my
Well,
God.
he tore up like 4 of them. Now, because you tore up 4 of them, now you got to pull the engine.
Yeah.
So now you don't have a car. So you know, call us. And I remember him being mad, making me leave. But it's like little lessons like that. It's like make sure you're doing things correctly, because the cost of it far outweighs what you actually think it is. And for
Oh, for
me
sure.
being in food service, the cost is death. The cost is someone dying. The cost is, if I don't do this correctly, someone could die. If I don't cook these eggs to temp, someone can get salmonella poison. If I don't
Right.
cook this chicken to temp, somebody could get botulism poison. If I see that this can is bulging or sucking, that means that there's some bacteria growing inside this can that could
Yep.
kill someone.
Yep.
So, that sometimes sometimes it's not about that intrinsic motivation or extrinsic motivation. Sometimes it's about just telling the guy straight up, you know, I understand that you like your chicken cooked this way, but that chicken's not the temp.
Yeah.
And if you serve that chicken, you could get sick and die. Or if you eat
Yeah.
that chicken.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy, man. I wanna get into a little bit about maybe the psychology of prisoners, because you've been around the system long enough to know. But how do you get people who, at least from an outside looking in, you feel like they're at the bottom of this barrel, right? Like they've hit rock bottom, they're in prison because they did something, very little hope of like something magical coming out of it. How do you get people that have that mentality to start caring about a craft like cooking, right? Because like at some point they're probably inspired by you, which is why they'll work hard and learn how to cook and do those things. But like, how do you get people motivated to care enough when they're at a place like a prison?
Respect.
Yeah. Okay. Tell
Literally,
me more.
one word: respect. If uh, USP Victorville, I go to USP Victorville, I'm there. There's a guy, he's got like triple life. He works in the
Wow.
kitchen. He works in he
Wow.
works in the butcher shop in the kitchen. I mean, he has access to all the knives, all the blades, all the everything.
Right.
I can't walk in there and tell someone with triple life, "Hey, dude, what the fuck did I just tell you to do?"
Right. Exactly.
How's he gonna
Not
respond
going to
to
go
that?
well. Yeah. Not going to go well.
He don't have nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fine line of, I won't even say it's a fine line. It's just a matter of respect. Like,
Yep.
it's just the same thing when you want your kids to do something. You could beat your kid, but they might be envious of you. They might be bitter. They might turn into the Melendez brothers,
Yeah. Oh God. Right.
versus just saying, "Hey, this needs to be done." And some people need to know the reason why it needs to be done, not just because I said so, but because there's studies that show, empirical studies, and that show that if this isn't done properly and if it's not cooked to this temperature, people have died in the past.
Yeah.
And a lot
Crazy.
of these people who are doing a long time in jail, like they cultivate friendships, and they have mentorship programs in prison amongst the inmates, not amongst the staff, but the inmates are like trying to, this dude's got triple life. Society might think that he's going to be in jail trying to punk people and bully people and do all of these other things, but that's not the truth. He's looking at these little young kids, trying to mentor them and guide them and say, "Hey, don't do what I did. You still
Right.
have a chance. I don't have a chance anymore." So
Right.
when you see inmates who are trying to help and mentor, those are the ones you latch on to.
Yep.
It's kind of like I'm assuming you had some friends when you worked where you worked at
Yep.
who didn't care.
Yep. 100%.
And those were the ones that I would move heaven and earth to stay away from. But then when you find the ones who actually care, who actually want to help people, who actually want to do the right thing, those are the ones you latch on to.
Yeah.
And
For sure.
those are the ones that you promote. And those are the ones that be like, all right, so guess what? You're not my cook no more. Now you're going to be you're going to be the advisor to food service, or you're going to be, there's special details that you can do for inmates to be like, because this guy has gone above and beyond and has done everything that we've asked him to do. He's now gone from just being a cook to being someone who helps train, someone who helps teaches, someone who helps
Yeah.
does literally will do anything. And and now you're eligible for different bonuses. You're eligible for different things that the average inmate doesn't get
Right.
because you just showed a little initiative and you had some intrinsic motivation. That's the hardest
Yeah.
part is I'm a firm believer that every correctional officer should start at a high level institution because that's where you learn to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you can't use all that bravado and trying to punk somebody. This dude, he don't care. He
Yeah.
will kill you. And what are they gonna do to him? He
Yeah.
already got 3 life sentences.
That's crazy, man. I love that psychology of it. I mean, I think like there's something there's something about working with people and trying to understand the motivation for what keeps them going every day when you strip people of things like material wealth, access to uh, vices like women or drugs or drinking and all these things that like you think drive people now, but like when you strip all that out, what then is left, right? Like what gets people going? That's
Basic
crazy.
humanity, respect,
Yeah.
the respect thing that is a huge thing. I'll,
Yeah.
I'll tell you a jacked up story, and I'm only gonna tell you this story because I'm about to retire,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
it
Let's hear
happened.
it.
So it happened 20 years ago.
Okay.
I was at work, and I won't tell you what institution I was at, but I was at an institution. I was working the shoe, and it was
Okay.
me and my best friend, who's still my best friend to this day.
Okay.
We met at work. We're feeding in the special housing unit, and fast is slow, slow is fast. Take your time, you won't make mistakes.
Absolutely.
So I'm the key guy. So I have the key to the key that I have opens the actual cell door, and it opens the trap door, the feeding door. So you see in movies
Okay.
where the guy sticks his arm out and he don't want to put his arm in.
Yeah.
Like that's called a trap. So I'm walking around, and my buddy's got all the trays. He's holding the trays. He's probably got 10 trays in his hand.
Wow.
And I popped 3 doors. Boom, boom, boom. And the doors open. Because I didn't pop the trap. I
Oof.
popped the doors.
Okay.
And behind those doors were 6 killers for a Hispanic organization. And I think you know which one I'm talking about. And I'm standing there, and they're standing there looking at me. And you already know, being in law enforcement, it's a fucking green light. Anytime you got a fucking upper hands, green light on them, right? So the big homie who was over in the corner yelled something at him in Spanish. I was shitting myself, so I didn't understand what he said. But they
Yeah.
walked back in and closed their doors, all of them.
Mm.
And of those 6, 3 of them right now are at ADX Florence. Ain't never getting out of jail.
Damn.
So time passes, and the guy, he was getting transferred like back east somewhere because he came back for a writ to go to court. Time passes. I go to get him so the marshals can take him to wherever he's going to. And he goes, Brooks, I respect you. And he said, had you been, and he mentioned another officer's name who was known for being heavy-handed, overbearing, and just a
Yep.
tyrant.
Yep.
He said, had you been with so-and-so, had he done that, or had you done that with so-and-so, if it had not been you and James, you'd be dead right now. The only reason you're still breathing is because you're respectable and you never take your job and try to like be heavy-handed with people.
Right.
And
Right.
I was like year 2 in. So that really shaped my mentality of,
Yeah.
it is important how you treat people. Your parents
Yeah.
always tell you that, right?
Oh,
The
yeah, for
world
sure.
tells you that all the
Huh.
time. But
Yep.
when you get into law enforcement, it is very, very important how you treat
Yeah.
people.
I mean,
Because
there's the people telling you and you reading about it and hearing about it, and then when you're in a situation where you need to actually follow through with it, that's vastly different, bro.
100%.
Like being able to execute on the things that you know is the right thing is so much harder. Um, but for you though, like that really set the tone then, man. If that was year two,
Yeah.
right,
That
of
was
the
year
rest of your
2, and
career.
I was in the shoe, and it was one of those things of, hey, like this is it, bro. Like that changed my entire mentality of how I treated people. And the other
Yeah.
thing too is like in law enforcement, you're going to see these people again. If they don't have life, you're going to see them. They're from your community.
Mm-hmm.
There's been times I've been I- when Ariano Felix was in San Diego, he got arrested. He came to San Diego. He was at MCC San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
No, it wasn't Ariano Felix. It was shit. What? No, it was Ariano Felix. Me and my ex-wife were in a UTC mall in La Jolla. It was me, my
Okay.
ex-wife, and my daughter.
Okay.
Obviously, we're still married, and we're walking through the mall, and like this kid runs up to, and I see him coming, and I remember telling my wife, like, "Get away from me! Take our daughter and leave! Like, get out of here!" It was Ariano Felix's daughter, his son, his wife, and the three bodyguards.
Scary, bro.
It- it- but it's just another example of treating people with respect and kindness.
Yeah. Dude, absolutely, man.
There's I can't tell you how many times I've been in San Diego and like gone to the bar or gone to the club and seen inmates from work
Mhm,
who got out on bail,
mhm.
whose charges got dropped, or you see their wives or their girlfriends who come visit. And you have those staff members out there who would intentionally go after these dudes' wives or girlfriends. Like,
Dang.
bro, you're about to go lock up with this dude here. What are you doing? Your mind frame of, you know, and you see it and it happens and officers get hurt and people are just like, oh, the inmate attacked him. Mm,
Probably a different side to that too, you know?
can we tell the whole story, or are we gonna stick with the inmate attacked him because the inmate was mad at him because the
Right,
inmate was having a bad day?
right,
That's not the whole story, but people don't. Sometimes those are the situations people don't want to talk about. Like, why did the inmate attack you? Because you went to the bar the other night, you were popping bottles, you saw his girl. Next thing you know, one thing leads to another. People are going to find out whether they're in jail or not. They're going to find out what happened.
right, right.
So
It's
then a
crazy,
staff member
man.
gets beat up. And why did the staff member get beat up? Because the inmate was having a bad day. Because the staff told him to comply, he didn't comply. Because the staff
Yeah.
told him to do X, Y. No, because the staff fucked his wife. Can we tell the whole story? Bruh fucked his
And
old lady.
the inmate doesn't have that voice that the staff has. The staff is you can go out in public, you can talk to reporters, talk to your friends, whatever. The inmate's literally there. Like, so you don't ever hear
Correct.
from them. Yeah, that's
And the,
crazy.
and the only thing that they have, the only thing the inmate's going to have is his friends who were at
Right,
the club that night.
right.
And guess what? His friends are going to tell him, hey, your old lady went home with so and so. Wait, the friend might have just gotten out of jail
Yeah.
because the
That's
friend's
crazy.
charges got dropped or reduced, or the friend copped a plea. It-
Mhm.
People don't think about like the multitude of things that could go wrong when it's more than just a job. It's more than just going to work for 8 hours.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's so many layers of different things there. Aaron, I wanna talk a little bit about prison food culture, and I'd love to get like a few quick answers from you about what this looks like. What's the one thing that the inmates complain the most about when it comes to food?
the I'm trying to say how does I want to be politically correct, but I don't care. The white
Just say
inmates
it.
complain that the food is overseasoned,
Oh, man.
and the black inmates complain that the food's not cooked enough. So like
Right.
every Thursday, I know Thursday, depending on who's cooking, I
Right.
know that every 75% of the African American inmates are gonna be like, "Hey, Brooks, look at this chicken, man. It ain't even cooked all the way."
Yeah.
And if you put too much seasoning on it, the white dudes are gonna come and be like, "Hey, bro, like I don't know who back there cooking Brooks, but man, he's a little heavy-handed on the salt." So that would be my, or
Okay.
just the portion sizes. Sometimes they do it depends on what the meal is, but sometimes it's the portion size isn't big enough.
Right.
Like there are dietary restrictions that are on the food that don't come from us. They come from Washington D.C., from the dietitians and doctors who make up our cycle menu. But if you can find somebody else who works in a bureau of prison or probably even in a state prison, just ask them about chicken day. The black dude's gonna say it's not cooked enough, and the white dude's gonna say it's over seasoned. I mean, you put any kind of seasoning on there, the white dudes is like, "Hey, bro, what's this shit? This is crazy.
Yeah.
Y'all got all this
Yeah.
shit on here. You trying to make me have a heart attack?"
Love that. Oh, man. Um, are there holiday meals that you guys cook
Yes.
like special for holidays? What does that look like? Like, what's Thanksgiving look like?
Thanksgiving, we'll buy probably roast beef, turkey, ham, and mashed potatoes, gravy. Like basically the same thing you have at home. Like if you
Oh,
like
wow.
my food service administrator right now, really sharp young guy. I think the last Thanksgiving, or was it Thanksgiving or Christmas? Christmas we had 4 ounces of ham, 4 ounces of turkey, 4 ounces of roast beef, mashed potatoes and gravy,
Wow.
macaroni and cheese, like all the fixings. Because at the end of the day, the fat inmate's a happy inmate, right? Like what
Oh,
happens
yeah.
when you eat too much?
Yep.
You
Fall
get
asleep.
tired, you want to go lay your ass down.
Yeah.
So if the only way we can medicate you is by making
Uh-huh.
sure that you're full,
Hit that tryptophan.
hit that tryptophan, brother. That turkey trip's a real thing. A lot of people don't
Oh,
like. Why do I
man.
get tired when I eat turkey? That tryptophan,
Yeah.
baby, it gets you every time.
It gets me every year, man. It gets me every year, especially in front of a TV watching football, bro. I'm knocked out. I'm knocked out. Aaron, last question for you, brother, and I really appreciate this. I think these are very enlightening, hilarious stories that I've never heard before. But what's the one thing that most people misunderstand about prison food, and specifically being a person who's teaching prisoners how to cook within that system?
So that's kind of a complicated question, but I'm gonna try to simplify the answer.
Okay.
And it's not so much about the prison food because they eat the same thing you eat. They are eligible to have the same things that you got that we have on the streets. Like Monday is damn. I'm trying to think. I can't remember what Monday is. Monday might be like lettuce wraps, like chicken lettuce wraps. Tuesdays
Wow.
are Tuesdays are cheeseburgers. Wednesdays are like some barbecue chicken. Thursday is like chicken leg quarters, which is the thigh and the leg.
Wow.
Friday is fish. It's either going to be tuna or it's going to be like salmon patties. Um, Saturday is going to be for lunch. It's going to be like eggs with pancakes and maybe some kind of gravy. And then Sunday it's going to be like I think this Sunday is a chef salad. So you get diced up ham, all the accoutrements that come with a salad, and then an egg. So I think the biggest misconception is that people are like, and if you ever like watch court TV, you hear people say this, and it irritates me every time I hear it. I hope you rot in hell. I hope you die in jail. I hope it's miserable. I hope it's horrible. I hope it's in prison. Is not any of those things. Can it be horrible? Yes. On a day-to-day basis, is it a horrible place to be? From the layman, from our viewpoint, yes, it is a very horrible place to be because you've been removed from society and everything that you know and love. So from that aspect, it's a horrible thing, right? But from the aspect of the people who live there, they make the best of it the same way we make the best of living in society. Sometimes society it's not so great. Like our political climate right now is not that great, but
Absolutely.
we make the best of it. So when you take this guy who's got life, he's going to do everything in his power to make his stay for the rest of his life as comfortable as possible.
Right.
And it really just irks me when people are just like, I understand the pain and anguish behind it. Like I can empathize and sympathize with that person. But the truth of the matter is they're human beings. Officers like myself do our best to treat them with respect and dignity because I'm not there to punish you. I'm there to make sure that you get your 3 hots in a cot
Right.
and to make sure that you're safe.
Right. That's amazing. I love ending this conversation on that, Aaron. I mean, I appreciate you coming out and educating me and educating the listeners. This has been a fantastic way to kick off Work Unscripted. I never even like put one and one together to think that there were actually cooks, let alone people who taught people how to cook in prison. And it's just been very fascinating. And I'm sure the listeners are going to be eating it up because where else can you hear a story like this? So I want to
Yeah,
thank you, brother. Thanks
not a
for coming
problem.
out.
Oh, wait,
And I
one
wish
more
you well.
thing.
Yeah.
Look up have you ever heard of Dave's Killer Bread?
Yeah. Oh, I have that upstairs. I got it
Uh,
upstairs.
that's an inmate. Inmate went to prison, went to Sheridan, he started that company.
Is that right?
Yes, you look up the
Wow.
owner and founder of Dave's Killer Bread was an inmate. He
Okay.
learned how to bake
Okay.
in prison. And
Okay.
then the chef, I don't know if he's still there, but the head chef for the Hilton Corporation, he was an inmate in San Diego back in the 70s. He learned how to cook
Wow.
in San Diego as an inmate at the federal prison in San Diego and went to culinary art school and worked his way up to the executive chef for the Hilton organization. So
Wow.
those stories are out there. There are success stories out there that are, you just got to find them.
Dang. Well, shout out to Dave's Killer Bread, man. I buy that all the time. It's not cheap either, but it's the best
That
bread
part.
that's out there. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, so shout out
Yeah.
to Dave's Killer Bread. If you're listening to this, I need a sponsor. Sponsor the next episode. Give me a shout out. Hit me up on the DM. But other than that, Aaron, brother, I hope you have a great day, man. I appreciate you.
Thanks, big dog.
Hey, everyone. Before you go, if this episode moved you, please help the show. Hit subscribe. Every subscription tells the algorithm that this story matters. It helps the next person in the middle of their own transition find this show when they need it most. And if today's episode earned it, drop me a comment and tell me what landed. I read them all. And finally, if you're struggling, you're not lost, you're not behind, you're in the in-between, and that's where the real work happens. I'm Savan Kong. I'll see you on the next one.